Some ambitions demand everything, even a life. In the sun-soaked town of Clearwater, Florida, beneath the peaceful facade of beachside living, a family's carefully built life began to crack. What looked like a perfect marriage masked growing resentment and relentless ambition. One man saw freedom just within reach, but to claim the future he wanted, he needed to remove the one person standing in his way, his wife. With precision and cold determination, he set his plan in motion, believing he could start fresh with her daughter at his side. This is the story of how greed and manipulation reshaped a family's destiny, proving that the desire for control can lead down a fatal path. Maria Rodriguez was the heart of her home, a mother who took pleasure in the small things that created a cozy and welcoming atmosphere. Lily, her daughter from a previous relationship, was at the center of Maria's world. On weekend mornings, Maria was often found making pancakes while her daughter sat at the counter, talking about school or social activities. She was entirely dedicated to her daughter's future, setting aside a significant portion of the family budget for Lily's future education and encouraging her aspirations of becoming a psychologist. Peter Rodriguez seemed to blend seamlessly into this picturesque life at first glance. He effortlessly portrayed the loving husband and stepfather, constantly smiling and eager to assist with household tasks. He regularly bought Maria small gifts like her favorite flowers or chocolates and openly admired her commitment to the family. He showed great care and dedication to Lily, participating in her school activities and assisting with her projects, appearing to have wholeheartedly accepted his role as her stepfather. Despite appearing flawless on the surface, tiny cracks started to develop within this dynamic. Peter's increasing longing for more money, more freedom, and more control led to a rising sense of strain. Maria prioritized careful budgeting, while Peter's aspirations conflicted with her thriftiness. He started proposing high-risk investments and mentioned the possibility of borrowing money, but Maria, who was careful and sensible, turned down the suggestions. Even though they appeared happy to others, there was an underlying financial strain within the family's home, brewing an upcoming conflict. As time passed, Peter's focus started to move towards Lily. In contrast to Maria, Lily was youthful, brimming with hope, and free from the weight of adult burdens. She symbolized potential, liberation from the constraints Maria had set. Peter began to subtly compliment Lily more frequently, admiring qualities in her that he decided Maria was lacking: ambition and an ability to dream big. His relationship with Maria grew more tense as he started spending more time with Lily, helping with her studies and becoming involved in her social life. Maria observed the change, but she couldn't pinpoint the reason behind it. Peter's loving actions toward her began to fade, being replaced by periods of distance and silent annoyance. He stopped discussing his desires with Maria and became more curious about Lily's future plans. During dinner, he directed the discussions towards Lily's aspirations and the potential excitement in her future after graduation, leaving Maria feeling excluded. Maria started to feel uneasy when Peter lingered too much during hugs and gave Lily's shoulder a subtly intimate touch that felt more than fatherly. By the time she finally understood the depth of his attachment to Lily, it was already too late. As Peter's infatuation with Lily grew stronger, his anger towards Maria intensified. Minor conflicts about finances or future plans now appeared as significant obstacles hindering the life he had imagined. In his view, Maria had transformed into more than merely an annoying companion. She stood in his way, holding him back from the liberty and achievement he felt entitled to. The quiet, simmering tension between them slowly escalated, causing Peter to consider a darker solution that would eliminate Maria from the situation completely. Peter's frustration slowly morphed into something more dangerous, a meticulous plan to eliminate Maria without raising suspicion. He spent countless nights researching discreet ways to cause death, eventually settling on digitalis, a heart medication that in high doses induces cardiac arrest. The drug was perfect for his purposes, undetectable without a toxicology report, and easily mistaken for a natural heart failure, especially in someone Maria's age. Peter became disturbingly methodical. He tracked Maria's routines with precision, making note of when she woke up, how she prepared her morning smoothie, and the exact moments when she'd be alone. He even practiced slipping small, harmless substances into her drink to ensure his movements would go unnoticed. Maria trusted him implicitly, never suspecting that the man she shared her life with was silently rehearsing her murder. On a warm, ordinary morning, Peter carried out his plan. He carefully measured the deadly amount of digitalis and blended it seamlessly into her smoothie with a steady hand. From the kitchen corner, he observed Maria taking the glass, her mind already focused on the tasks of the day. After briefly smiling at Peter, she thanked him for tidying up and took the first sip, unaware of the poison she had just consumed. Peter watched her closely with a cold, controlled focus, his heart racing as she finished her drink. Upon finishing the final drop, he realized it was impossible to reverse course. All that was left to do was wait. A short time after, Maria's hands shook as she extended her arm towards the front door, feeling a sudden wave of dizziness. Confused, she stopped and held onto the doorway for support. Peter observed from the adjacent room with a neutral expression as she struggled to make her way back to the kitchen, her legs collapsing under her. Maria fell to the floor silently, her heart burdened by the digitalis without making a sound. Peter remained still, his ears capturing her jagged breaths, diminishing into an unsettling quietness. He waited for a little while more, just to make sure. Content, he quietly left the house, not disturbing anything, confident in the knowledge that Lily would soon discover her mother, and jumped to the conclusion of a sudden, tragic heart attack. Lily found her mother collapsed on the kitchen floor, her skin pale and lifeless, with the empty smoothie glass sitting nearby. Panic surged as she knelt beside Maria, shaking her and calling her name, but there was no response. Frantically, she dialed 911, her voice trembling as she begged for help, though deep down, she knew it was too late. When the paramedics arrived, they initially suspected a heart attack, but something didn't sit right. Maria was healthy, with no warning signs of such a sudden collapse. The absence of Peter raised further suspicions, as he was nowhere to be found. When Detective Rachel Morgan arrived, her instincts told her that this wasn't just a tragic accident. The scene felt too clean, too perfect. With no visible signs of trauma or forced entry, it would have been easy to assume natural causes, but Morgan wasn't convinced. She ordered a toxicology report, determined to uncover what really happened beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary home. When the toxicology report verified poisoning by digitalis, the investigation drastically changed direction. Detective Morgan presented the evidence to Peter, who had played the shocked and grieving husband. Initially, he refused to admit to anything, but after intense interrogation, he finally revealed the truth. His idea had been straightforward: remove Maria to reduce financial stress and start a new life with Lily, whom he aimed to influence into beginning a future together. With the confession in hand, Peter was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The trial was swift, as the evidence against him was overwhelming. Prosecutors laid bare Peter's carefully crafted scheme, revealing his research into digitalis and his manipulation of both Maria and Lily. The courtroom was filled with a tense silence as Lily sat in disbelief, grappling with the horrifying truth. Her stepfather had not only killed her mother, but had intended to draw her into his twisted fantasy of a new life together. Throughout the proceedings, Peter remained cold and detached, showing no remorse for the destruction he had caused. The jury returned a guilty verdict, and Peter was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The outcome offered some closure, but the emotional toll on Lily was devastating. Unable to stay in Clearwater, she left town, seeking to rebuild her life far from the memories of betrayal and loss. Maria's friends and neighbors honored her memory by establishing a community scholarship in her name, but the scars left behind were deep. Though the years would pass, the story of Peter Rodriguez remained a disturbing reminder of how greed and manipulation can unravel even the closest bonds, leaving devastation in their wake.